Needing to be a good person or a nice person might be one of the fastest ways to destroy your creativity as an artist, or at the very least being a good or nice person without any sense of boundaries. I don't know if you're anything like me, but one of the things that I've struggled with the most in life is deriving my sense of significance from the way that I contribute to those in my life. I care about being a good brother. I care about being a good son. I care about being a good partner. I care about being a good creative. I care about being a good yada, 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 and XYZ. And the hardest thing about that balance is the underside. It is the fear of looking selfish. It is the fear of appearing as though I'm taking up too much space or I'm taking away something from someone else, even if it is mine to begin with, primarily my time or my energy. And if you're caught in that kind of cycle, you can spend years pushing off your own creativity for other people's comfort, for other people's needs. And the hardest thing to recognize about that kind of kindness, especially if you're the one that's giving it, is that there's a lot of selfishness disguised underneath. In this video, we are going to be talking about The Artist's Way Week 5, which is all about a sense of possibility. It is about balancing a sense of openness and closeness. Openness to what God has to offer, the world has to offer, what is out there, what is there for you if you open yourself to it, along with being closed, how to say no, how to keep what is yours, the space that belongs to you in order to have healthier relationships, not just to others around you, but to yourself as a creative and as a person. But before we get into that, welcome back. My name is Matt. I'm a multi-hyphenate artist and creative living out here in Philadelphia, documenting my creative journey right here on the internet with you. So this chapter is very wooey. Julia dives waist deep into the God talk and much about the outer force and what it is to be a person that just takes a step outward. I think there are two primary sections that this chapter is very ruled by. It is the first half, which talks about the outer sense of possibility, what it means to step out into abundance, the opportunities that are out there. And this is built off of throughout the last weeks in the chapters with concepts like synchronicity and concepts that talk about what it means to be an artist in recovery, how people are going to take that. And she uses some anecdotal stories from some of the people that have worked with her before, like people that have had terrible agents and were like deeply terrified and wanted to be good people, wanted to be good artists, didn't think they deserved any better, were worried. And then in the day that they decided, hey, I'm going to give up on this agent who has been very disrespectful, their partner was able to find somebody that, you know, had worked over here, that they knew from here, that was able to become their agent that they work to this day. It's just different stories and anecdotes about what it is like to step out into the larger set of abundance, but more importantly, the concept of believing that the world is open to you, that you have room to take up, that there is space for you as an artist, as a creative, or as somebody that wants to do something, right? Much of this chapter in the first half is about that sense of openness, believing that the force outside of you wants to give you something, wants to give you bigger than you may even have for yourself. What could you do? What could you be? Like, it is about opening up your heart and believing that there is a net that will appear when you jump. It is about leaping and expecting the net to appear, which is wonderful. And that back half portion, which is much more germane to me, is very much about this virtue trap. It is about this sense of selfishness that artists experience. It might even be put onto them when they start to say no. She illustrates the balance here that people tend to struggle with when they are going through and trying to take up space in their life. It is the mother that wants to start pottery classes but doesn't want to not show up for her kid's soccer game. It's the father that needs to help take care of his friend's issue but really, really, really wants to learn how to get into sewing. It is all those things that people want to do personally that their roles and their titles kind of stop them from doing, because the moment that they stop showing up for other people in a certain way, they will stop being perceived as good. Truthfully speaking, I do have a bit of friction in this part because, like, I tend to do and overdo. I tend to help this friend or that friend or the third friend and be like, I don't need, cool, you good? I'm good. And Julia talks a lot about the need to be able to say no, because underneath that, I will do whatever needs to be done to help those that I care about. There might also be tension there, right? Like, it can lead to passive aggression when people take up too much of your space. Naturally, as you begin to open up your sense of anger, as you begin to open up your sense of boundaries, as you begin to retap into your identity, you are going to not like people taking up your space. You're going to want to have more room and time for yourself. You don't need all of your time. You don't need everything, but you need enough to be able to breathe and live and be your own person. And she talks a lot about how hard it is, especially as you have ongoing responsibilities to do that, but how necessary it is, because first your anger will pop up and say, how dare you take time from me? This is all that I have. I work 9 to 5 and you are now here to cry on my shoulder. I hate you. And it's your child, right? Or how dare you take time from me? I work XYZ. And This is not about like the narcissist, quite frankly, as you was talking about chapters ago. This is very much about the people that might reasonably be like, hey, I need your help, right? And it's about taking enough for yourself. This back section is all about self-esteem. That's really what she's getting at. And one of the core things that Julia talks about in this back section about saying no and being closed to other things is about how people who are stuck in the virtue trap make a virtue of deprivation. I can do without this. I can do without that. I'll give this to this person. I'll give that to that person, and never taking up space for themselves. You believe you're bad because you have needs, and then it closes you further off to possibility, because then by the time you are ready to open up, you don't have any practice or skill taking in and saying yes and receiving. And having good things happen for you, think you don't deserve it. Meanwhile, you are like the main one that you're like the main one that God wants to do something for, or people want to do something for, or that things can happen too, that people are waiting for you to open your mouth and to ask for help or to ask for support. But because you've made an identity around not needing anything and being the source for everybody, you don't get any source for yourself. A lot of people that want to do the best for those around them, that push to the degree where it's almost pathological, are abandoning themselves through the needs of others, and which is just codependency. They don't have to think about themselves because they have to think about other people, and in there they rob their true artists. They rob themselves of having room to be able to discover who they really are. And so there's always going to be good excuses. Life will always give you another reason not to. But the challenging part, especially as somebody that's striving out to make decisions, is saying no to that, is looking at yourself and saying, I'm a good enough reason to stay. It is looking at your needs, your desires, and just your selfish curiosity and going, I want to see where this goes. I need to see where this goes, and doing it in a way that's balanced. People tend to have a hard time identifying the issue as a self-esteem issue, an issue of, do I value my time, energy, and space enough to protect it, to get something for it? And not just, when I say get something for it, I don't mean money, but what I mean is that there's a small version of you in there that needs to be taken care of, right? And we put that kid to the side all the time. We go, I have to go help this, I have to go help that. But that kid needs to play. That kid needs to go out and enjoy life. That kid needs to go out and, mess around with some pottery. That kid needs to go out and figure out what life looks like for itself. It is desperately challenging to do that. It can be very, very scary, especially if you grow up in environments where the opinions and needs of others are deeply entrenched into how you're going to be treated, which I know I did. It's so challenging to say you are safe enough to go and explore. But that is the absolute most important thing that you can do, especially if you want to figure out who you are. The back half of this chapter is about talking about forbidden joys, things that you want to do that you have not allowed yourself to do because you are sabotaging yourself, because you feel like it would rob others to serve you. And it's all about figuring out what you want to do, what area do you want to walk in, and trusting that as you go out, you will continue to find things that do fill you. And some people may not like it when you start to take up space, and that's all right. What are they going to do? Hate you for the rest of your life? Possibly. And we are all going to be ashes and dust, and at that time, an opinion is not going to matter. Anyways, and so the main way to remove yourself from this virtue trap is to be curious about your own life, is to go out and do things that you're curious about. So that's it for the chapter review. Let's get into the actual check-in. And oh my God, was this a week for me? All right. Oh no. Oh, what? Oh, my light turned off. I'm recording. Please, a cup of light. Okay, I don't know why my light turned off, but expecto patronum. I'm probably not adding that to the video. Anyways, this week in regard to like checking stuff, it was a lot of stuff for me. I actually experienced a lot of things. And this is the part where I'm not sure how much I want to speak about on the internet. But yeah, the synchronicity thing is definitely what you call it. But we're going to start with the tasks, and then we're going to get closer into the checking stuff. And then I'm just going to freestyle it. But so the first one was like, list out reasons why you can't really believe in supportive God. It is like, God can take it. I don't know about other like faith structures, but oftentimes with Western religions, our concept of God comes from our concept of family. One thing I do know for sure and do know for certain is that your family is the first religion that you are aware of. It's the first religion that you know. I mean, babies enter this world pre-verbally, before our ability to put concepts together and to say words and to do whatever else. We come in here instinctively with the wiring to cry, raise our hands to a force higher than us that we pray and hope understands us, cares about our needs, and wants to comfort and take care of us, and expected to do so. It's like baked into us as creatures. And what is that besides worship, right? And so many children grow up in this world and get hurt and get bent out of shape because their parents don't take care of them and they are like dependent. That instinct for worship is what we sublimate into the instinct to praise a higher power a lot of times. And so a lot of people might go, what came first? Is it that is in humans that cause us to craft our sense of God and our sense of morality and push that out into any concept of God that we have? Or is it God that's put that in us and that is what pervades in us as a creature? And so that's why we must go, I don't know, but that is there. That is there. I know much of the melange of emotions around my beliefs in God come from my struggles with my own parental structure and like my beliefs around family and different things that have changed and been altered wildly and vastly. And then also my interactions with like churches and like the sales funnel through baptism that I've experienced before. It was just interesting. But yeah, that's one of those ones. But I do believe that I absolutely believe that God is out there. One thing that I know to be true is that oftentimes God will not come down, but he'll use people. That's just something that my mama says. And she's like real Bible thumper. He'll absolutely send people in your direction, which Julia seems to believe in and it seems to rock with. So 2 on task was starting an image file. Most of my actual extra tasks, most of the tasks this week actually were starting image files for different ideas and vision boards. I started a Pinterest board that I've been adding to through the week, and I'm going to keep adding to through the weeks. So I did my morning pages this week. I did as much as I could. I hit every single day. I didn't miss any. Some days it was like later than the morning because I would just get up and go straight to work. But then I would like sit down, like it would either be lunchtime, but I would make sure I did the pages. Absolutely. So this week, artist date wise and synchronicity, my boy, those ones were the hitters. So I'm going to just put up a video of my artist date this week. It's actually me making this hoodie that I'm wearing right now. I was really pissed and tired that day. So I just went out to a Walmart and like found a bed sheet and just cut it up and turned it into a hoodie. So I'm going to have some music that I've made and some video of me like playing right now. But yeah, the artist date was fun. And synchronicity wise, my God, it's just been a lot of stuff. So I talked last week and I've been talking last week's working through like mama trauma and different things like that. So I've had a lot of things pop up this week in regard to like interactions with people or like seeing someone that I haven't seen in years. Like this is the object of my limerence from my early 20s and my teens out on a date in the wild. I'm not saying nothing. This person doesn't even exist to me, but I go, oh my God, a different version of me would be in shambles right now. And I went and I was like, okay, cool. And then I know that person saw me and I know that I saw them. And I just acted like they didn't exist, and they just acted like I didn't exist, and I was like, hey, okay with it. I was just like, if you've ever had such a deprivation of a relationship that your brain has put somebody up on the altar of connection in it, like, do you know how much that stuff kind of gets to you? I was just like, man, I'll be all right. And I'm cool with that. So that was interesting, especially after like spending the week before working through issues that have come through with my mother relationship. It was just so interesting. So a lot of that came up synchronicity wise. It's just a lot of stuff that I'm not finna talk about. I'm not finna talk about on the internet, but I enjoy making these. I'm going to keep getting them up. I want to get them up in time because like I'll make it like it used to be Tuesdays. Now it's Fridays. I'm trying to make things go faster. It's hard. I'm like doing all the editing and recording and everything on my own. But like I love doing this little documentary journal. It's great. So next week's video is all about recovering a sense of abundance, which is all about the cheddar, baby. But yeah, I'm really excited to make a full video about that one and talk about that. Now, I would love to hear down in the comments if any of you have like struggled with that the same way that I have, like just trying to balance out your sense of responsibility with your sense of wonder. Like I want to go out and do things in life, but I have to help people. Like I have to do things. But yeah, anyways, that next week's video is going to be over here. Thank you.